Jordan Peterson's theory of meaning and responsibility. The search for a purposeful life is a challenge that has faced humanity for thousands of years, and Jordan Peterson, a contemporary psychologist and thinker, has built a significant body of work centered on the idea that meaning is the ultimate antidote to the suffering inherent in life. At the very core of his philosophy is the belief that meaning is not something you find through pleasure or happiness, but something that emerges when an individual takes on the maximum amount of responsibility they can possibly carry. To understand this theory, one must first accept Peterson's starting point, that life is difficult, often unfair, and full of unavoidable pain. He argues that if we do not have a strong reason to get out of bed and face these challenges, we risk falling into bitterness, resentment, and a sense of hopelessness. Therefore, the goal of a human life should not be to seek a state of constant happiness, which is fleeting and fragile, but to build a foundation of meaning that can withstand the storms of existence. According to Peterson, the world is a constant interplay between two fundamental states, chaos and order. Order is the place where things go according to plan, where we are safe, and where our surroundings are predictable. Chaos, on the other hand, is the unknown, the place where things fall apart, where accidents happen, and where we encounter things we do not understand. Meaning, he suggests, is found exactly on the border between these two states. If you stay entirely in order, you become bored and stagnant because there is nothing new to learn. If you fall entirely into chaos, you become overwhelmed and paralyzed by fear. The meaningful life is found by standing with one foot in order, to keep yourself grounded, and one foot in chaos, to challenge yourself and grow. This balance is what Peterson refers to as walking the path, and it is achieved primarily through the voluntary adoption of responsibility. Responsibility begins with the individual and their immediate surroundings. One of Peterson's most famous pieces of advice is the simple command to clean your room. While this sounds like a trivial task, it carries a deep symbolic and practical message. He argues that you cannot hope to fix the problems of the world or organize a complex society if you cannot even organize your own private space. By cleaning your room, you are taking responsibility for the small piece of the world that is under your direct control. You are turning chaos into order. Once you have mastered your room, you can move on to your family, then your community, and eventually perhaps even broader social issues. This incremental approach prevents people from becoming overwhelmed by the magnitude of the world's problems while ensuring they are actually contributing something tangible rather than just talking about change. A vital part of this theory is the rejection of the victim mindset. Peterson acknowledges that everyone has legitimate reasons to feel like a victim because life is indeed harsh. However, he warns that adopting a victim identity is a dangerous path that leads to a desire for revenge and the disintegration of the self. Instead, he proposes radical responsibility. This means that even if a situation is not your fault, it is still your responsibility to decide how you will respond to it. By choosing to face challenges head-on rather than complaining about them, an individual develops character. Character is the internal strength that allows a person to be dependable and useful to others during times of crisis. Peterson often says that you should strive to be the person at your father's funeral that everyone can lean on. This image perfectly captures his view of a successful life, someone who has traded the easy path of impulsive pleasure for the difficult path of being a pillar of strength for their community. Another cornerstone of his theory is the importance of truth-telling. Peterson believes that your words literally create the world you live in. When you lie, you warp your perception of reality and weaken your ability to navigate the world. Over time, a life built on lies becomes unstable and will eventually collapse when it encounters the harshness of chaos. Conversely, telling the truth, or at least not lying, keeps your vision clear. It allows you to see the world as it truly is, which is the only way you can accurately identify where responsibility needs to be taken. Truth and responsibility are linked because you cannot be responsible for something you are lying to yourself about. By being honest about your flaws and your potential, you can begin the difficult work of self-improvement. Meaning also has a biological and evolutionary component in Peterson's view. He suggests that our brains are actually wired to signal to us when we are on the right track. That feeling of deep engagement or flow, when you are working on a difficult but rewarding task, is your nervous system telling you that you are positioned correctly between chaos and order. It is a biological reward for taking on responsibility. This is why many people feel empty despite having material wealth or physical comfort. They lack the burden of a meaningful goal. Without a heavy cross to bear, as Peterson often uses religious metaphors to explain, the human spirit tends to wither. We are beasts of burden, in a psychological sense. We are at our best when we are working toward a high ideal that serves more than just our own selfish interests. The ultimate goal of Peterson's theory is the development of the sovereign individual. This is a person who has integrated their dark side, recognizing their capacity for aggression and selfishness, but has chosen to aim at the highest possible good. By acknowledging that you are capable of doing harm, you become more dangerous but also more disciplined, as you now have the power to protect and provide. Responsibility is the mechanism by which this integration happens. When you commit to a job, a marriage, or a community, you are forced to sacrifice your immediate whims for the sake of a long-term vision. This sacrifice is what creates the depth in a person's life. Peterson argues that modern culture has focused too much on rights and not enough on responsibilities, leading to a generation of people who feel entitled but purposeless. By reclaiming the idea of duty, individuals can find the meaning they are so desperately seeking. In conclusion, Jordan Peterson's theory of meaning and responsibility is a call to action. It is an invitation to stop waiting for life to become easy and to start making yourself strong enough to handle it being hard. It suggests that the secret to a good life is hidden in the places you are currently avoiding and in the tasks you know you should be doing but have left undone. By picking up the heaviest load you can carry, you not only improve your own life and the lives of those around you, but you also justify your existence in a world defined by suffering. It is a philosophy of hope built on the foundation of hard work, honesty, and the courageous embrace of the unknown. Thank you so much for taking the time to read through this exploration of Jordan Peterson's ideas. If you found this explanation helpful and want to dive deeper into psychology, philosophy, and the ways we can improve our lives through better thinking, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Do not forget to click the notification bell so you are always the first to know when a new video is released. We truly appreciate your presence in our learning community.